Hey guys, and welcome back into the Viking Central podcast. We're going to start doing this about every Thursday or Friday of the week up into the draft. We are going to do a mock draft roundup, just kind of going around, finding a handful of mock drafts, and just letting you guys know what the so-called experts are saying the Vikings are going to select, especially in the first round here at pick number 24. We're going to focus on the first round, and as we get closer, maybe we can do a 3 or even a 7 round mock draft and a roundup just to see who they think the Vikings are going to pick. And then we'll probably be a little bit more interactive, and I'll do one as well on the PFF mock draft simulator as well. But before we get into this video, I do want to shout out our sponsor, Stead Foods. Check out Stead Foods, a Minnesota-based candy company specialized in delicious chocolate bars. They have something for everyone, and of course, my personal favorite, caramel crack, will keep you coming back for more. It is just super delicious. Use code VC10 for 10% off and use the link on the screen or in the description. Again, use code VC10 for 10% off and use the link on the screen or in the description. All right, so we're just about 2 months away from the draft, a little bit over 2 months. We're sitting at February 20th here. First day of the draft, I believe, is April 24th. So it's going to be here before we know it. Free agency is going to come up, and that's going to speed the process up too, and give us a better idea of who the Vikings are going to kind of target. We only have 4 picks right now, but hopefully we can end up with like 6 or 7 at the end of the draft just to fill out this roster a little bit. And hopefully Kwesi Adofo-Mensah can hit on some draft picks this year, because we need them. And hopefully, obviously, J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner, 2 first-round picks from last year, have great years in 2025. All right, let's get into this. The Vikings mock draft roundup. So I pulled 8 different mock drafts. Again, it's the first round, pick 24, just to see who they picked. And you'll kind of see the process here as well once I go. But we'll start out with Jahdae Barron. Cornerback out of Texas. Pro Football Focus, the 33rd team, and USA Today all mocked him to the Vikings, and it does make some sense. We're going to need some cornerback depth, and we're going to need another young guy in there, especially what are we going to do with Byron Murphy? I expect the Vikings to extend him, but, it's not a for sure thing. So, just a little bit of write-up here. Barron played smothering coverage underneath, fueled by route recognition, footwork, and play strength. His instincts allow him to pounce on catch points or tackle pass catchers immediately from zone. However, he lacks recovery speed deep and can be a little too grabby at the top of the route and man. Now, it all sounds great right off the bat. Route recognition, footwork, play strength, that's amazing. Good instincts. It sounds like he's a good tackler. I have watched some film with him, and obviously, that they were in the college football playoff and everything like that. And you can see he's an impact player. So, that's awesome. And I think he can come in and contribute day one and maybe even be a starter. The grabbiness does scare me a little bit, but I trust Brian Flores to clean that up. We've seen that with Xavier Rhodes before and a couple other guys that they just get way too grabby, and penalties really torque off a defensive coordinator and a head coach. So we'd have to clean that up. But I do like this pick, Jahdae Barron. Cornerback does make sense again, but again, this is going to really rely on what the Vikings do in free agency, and especially Byron Murphy. Are they going to bring back Shaq Griffin, Stephon Gilmore? What's he going to do? But again, Jahdae Barron, popular pick this week. Pro Football Focus, the 33rd team in USA Today, I'll mock him to the Vikings. Next up, Travion Henderson, running back, Ohio State. I really like this pick. NFL.com, and his stock's only going to rise through the combine and the pre-draft process. It might be a little bit of a reach. I think he might be a little bit more of a second-round guy, but if Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell really love him, let's go for it, I guess. And you can see the comp there by Lance Zierlein, Aaron Jones. He'd be a cheaper, younger, and maybe even eventually a better Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is an amazing running back, but you can see he has average size. Aaron Jones, average size, but above average juice with good acceleration. He's an average decision maker inside and is not overly creative once confronted by the defense, but he has the pacing and subtle shiftiness to excel as an outside runner. He might be the best pass protecting running back in the draft, and is more than capable as a pass catcher. The last two there, pass protecting, big. We know defenses love to send blitz and everything like that. If you can pick up a blitz, Kevin O'Connell's going to love you. And that's kind of a reason Ty Chandler didn't get a lot of snaps, because he just was not a great pass protecting back. And then he's more than capable as a pass catcher. Again, that comp with Aaron Jones, same way with him. He can catch the ball. And I think he'd be a great fit in this offense. just to be able to get downhill. He is pretty fast. He can excel, especially as an outside runner, and we know Kevin O'Connell loves that as well. I think he'd be a great fit in Minnesota, and that comp, Aaron Jones. I think this is going to make Kevin O'Connell fall in love with him a little bit too, because he's obviously looking for that type of running back. So Travion Henderson, running back, Ohio State, NFL.com mocks him to the Vikings. All right. Not a lot of people are going to love this one, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Malachi Starks, safety, Georgia. I think alone, Kwesi probably won't even draft Georgia safety because he would just get so much hate for doing that. But he is, you can see that, he is not Lewis Cine. As Sports Illustrated mocked him to the Vikings, he is not Lewis Cine. I mean, he's his own player. Starks is a versatile safety with the size and athleticism to eliminate contested catches and the speed and ball skills to shine when the action travels deep. Connection to the route is inconsistent in man, and he's batted out of position by misdirection. But better discipline and anticipation should clean that up, i.e., Brian Flores coaching him up, and hopefully Durante Jones still, but he could be gone as well. I think he's had some interviews here. He's not a true force player near the line, and his pursuit angles can be raggedy, but he gets downhill when he's in position. All right, the beginning of that, and I've noticed this too. And there's a little bit of tape I watched. He's got the size and athleticism. He's a big guy. He's 6'3", like 230 pounds, and his skills shine when the ball travels deep, which I really love. If you can have a playmaker down the field, that'd be huge, especially with Harrison Smith maybe going to retire. What are we going to do with Cam Bynum? We are eventually going to have to figure out that safety spot because there's a lot of questions up in the air here in the coming weeks. Again, he is not Lewis Cine, his own guy, and I think Brian Flores would love him, to be honest with you. He's a rangy safety who can make plays. And again, Sports Illustrated, Malachi Starks out of Georgia there, mocked to the Vikings. Next up, Donovan Jackson. Inside offensive lineman out of Ohio State. CBS Sports mocks him to the Vikings. Big dude, 6'4", 320 pounds. We need to bulk up our offensive line. I think this might be a little bit of a reach. I'm looking more at the way back end, like the last couple picks of the first or early second. But if they fall in love with him a little bit, I could see this being the pick. Jackson has the athleticism for all tasks as an outside zone blocker. He could be a good fit. He is also able to accelerate and lead the way on long pulls or counters. He leans against stunting, slanting fronts, and he can be tardy in opening his hips and activating his feet for recoveries. He's long but punches with wider hands and struggles to consistently maintain his edges when mirroring. So sounds like he's a really good run blocker. I have not watched a ton of tape with him, but it sounds like he's a good run blocker. But he's got to clean up kind of what he needs to do with pass protection because he's a little bit slow on recoveries and things like that. But he's a big guy. I love that he's from the Big Ten. I love Big Ten offensive linemen. So bring him in. I'd be all open for this. I think he'd be just fine in this system and just another guy to protect J.J. McCarthy because we're going to need a bunch of them. And again, Donovan Jackson, offensive lineman from Ohio State. CBS Sports mocks him to the Vikings. All right, next up, Omarion Hampton, running back, North Carolina. A to Z Sports mocks him to the Vikings. High volume battering ram with a 3-ingredient recipe of size, strength, and aggression. Hampton is a linear runner lacking creativity and wiggle, but once the gas is engaged, he runs like a downhill truck whose brake lines have been cut. Now I've freaking love that. He has the base, balance, and power to batter tacklers and reignite runs after contact. He fails to recognize an alternative run lane for more easier pass and more yardage. So it sounds like the vision's not great, but he's just a bouncing ball, pinball, going through the line, bouncing off tacklers. And I would really love that. I love the line where he runs like a downhill truck whose brake lines have been cut. He sounds violent, and I'd really love that. Now, I think a lot of people think this would be a reach. I think a lot of people love Travion Henderson more, Caleb Johnson more even, and maybe Cam Scatabo. But he's supremely talented. It'd be another North Carolina running back to go along with Ty Chandler, but just a super talented guy, and he's a violent runner, which I would absolutely love. We haven't had a violent runner in here since Adrian Peterson. So get him in here. Wear down a defense. I'd love it. I might be in the minority, but I'd love this pick. Omarion Hampton, running back, North Carolina. A to Z Sports good call. I'm locking into the Vikings. He's one of my draft crushes, so I'm a little biased on this one. All right. I think this is the last one. Nick Amanwari, safety from South Carolina. Another safety, which is kind of interesting. Pro Football Network mocks him to the Vikings. You see Lance Zierlein comp there. Jeremy Chin, who's a really good safety for the Carolina Panthers. He's a physical specimen with rare size and outstanding speed. I love these two safety picks because they have great speed. They can make plays downfield, but he doesn't always play with a first to the action mentality and run support. When he gets it cranked up, he becomes a much more effective tackler and overall run stopper from sideline to sideline. He's capable of playing over the top, inside the box, or even matching up with pass catching tight ends. I think he'd be a great fit, a pretty versatile guy, and you can see he's just physical. Like he's a big dude, and he's maybe like a Javon Holland maybe type a little bit, maybe not quite as like punishing, but he's a guy that he can do it all. I really like Nick Monowari in this defense, but I don't know with our 24th pick. I think there's more needs, and I'm going to kind of get into that too. So here's kind of a little bit of a recap. Again, Nick Monowari, Pro Football Network mocks him to the Vikings. You can see right here the 8 that I pulled, and you notice there's no defensive lineman. None. I think a couple of these, Kenneth Grant was still available. Derek Hampton was still available. Guys that I'd probably take ahead of almost every single one of these guys. Where's the beef up front on defense? Come on now. We need to do a mock draft because I think I'm trying to do this. Maybe all these guys are thinking free agency is going to be big for the defensive tackles for the Vikings. So maybe that's what they're relying on. But where's Kenneth Grant? Where's Derek Hampton? Where's those big guys? I need it. All right. What do you guys think of this mock draft update? We're going to do this pretty much again every Thursday or Friday. Interesting to see what everyone's kind of thinking. But this is the Viking Central Podcast sponsored by Stead Foods. Hit that like and subscribe button, especially if you guys like this video. If you want to see more of these mock draft roundup videos, would really appreciate it. Skol, baby.